We're here with the 2018 Mercedes-Benz AMG GLA45, or as we've affectionately been calling it around the office, the Snot Rocket. Now this slimy green colored hatchback is properly quick. It does 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds, has a top speed of 167 miles an hour, and has 375 horsepower from a turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. And the GLA45 does fast very well. It's not concerned about everyday chores like carrying people or cargo. It just wants to go fast, and that's what it does well. The GLA technically falls under Mercedes' SUV lineup, but really it's more of hatchback. It has a lower ride height than the regular GLA, which is already questionable SUV, so this is just really more of a hatchback. The most SUV-like part of this vehicle is the power rear liftgate, which is a nice feature. It remains a GLA class on the inside, so it's tiny. Calling the back seat snug would be kind, and then up front you have these optional sports seats that are a little bulkier than the regular seats in the GLA class, so they take up a little more room and they are super aggressive seats. The bolsters just dig into your sides and they are adjustable, but even in their most relaxed state, the bolsters are always there. If you have width concerns, this is not the vehicle for you. But if you're thinking of the GLA as a practical purchase, well then you're doing it wrong, because this is one bad booger. Our test car has all of the optional performance packages, so you're looking at that performance package that unlocks the top speed of 167 miles an hour with the performance suspension, the performance exhaust. You have just this wide range of optional packages that turn this into a little snot rocket that it is. But that comes at a price to the tune of $71,000 for this car. When the exhaust is uncorked in these performance modes, the AMG has a snarling, snorting exhaust. It's bassy and voluminous and very unique for a 4-cylinder engine. And I apologize for the snorting reference and all the nose references and booger references you're gonna hear in this video. Now, all of those packages give the GLA45 additional range and adjustable suspension firmness and exhaust noise. And those are selectable through the driving modes. And the driving modes make a big, big difference in this car. Some cars, they don't. You can't really tell the difference between a comfort mode and a sport mode, but that's not the case in the GLA45. When you flip this thing into race mode, it changes the character like that. Immediately, the RPMs rise to about over 1,000 RPM from around 750 or so. And the exhaust loudens and the car starts to vibrate, and it just has this ready to go attitude when you put it in Sport Plus or race mode. Almost like a younger brother who's getting ready to put the finger up to the nose and hawk a loogie on your little sister. It's just ready to go, and boy does it go. And on the track is where this car really shines, especially in race mode. It has almost an unflappable presence to it. It just is very solid. You can give it a ton of gas out of the corners and it sticks. It does lean a little toward understeer, but this is a front-wheel drive-based vehicle. And the all-wheel drive system does drive around in front-wheel drive most of the time and will transfer power 50-50 between the front and rear. This model does have that optional limited slip differential though. It's not the smartest all-wheel drive system. It doesn't have mechanical torque vectoring rear axle. It can't transfer all power to just one wheel, but honestly, I didn't think of it as that much of a hindrance on the racetrack, where it felt very stable and very planted. It does have an electronic torque vectoring system though that will break individual wheels to create a yaw moment and help you rotate around the corner on the track. Overall though, I didn't feel like it needed any super fancy all-wheel drive system. It did exceptionally well on the small track that I was driving on. Acceleration is also a strong point of this car. That 0 to 60 at 4.3 seconds is rightfully quick, and it feels like it in the seat of your pants. But beyond outright acceleration, I thought there was great responsiveness from this engine in the Sport Plus and race modes. In the comfort and regular sport modes, it's a bit disappointing. Very numb, not responsive, but once you dial it up in those more aggressive race modes, the engine comes to life, and that accelerator pedal is crisp and responsive. And I think what's most impressive though is that with the dual clutch automatic transmission, a 7-speed in this car, it's really responsive from a stop too. So if you're in Sport Plus or race mode and you just stomp the accelerator, a lot of dual clutch cars might lag a little bit before they get you going, but this car slips the clutch, it gives those engine revs a big jump, and boom, you're off. And it's a blast. And that's without using the launch control. So the AMG GLA45, great on the racetrack. That's really where you want to drive this car though, not on bumpy city roads, where as you can see where I'm driving, it is rough. It is a hardcore vehicle, especially in the Sport Plus and race modes. Comfort mode doesn't really dial it down a whole lot. It's still a very aggressive vehicle, and it's not one that I would want to drive in the city for very long. It's rough, it's noisy, it feels like a dedicated performance vehicle, which is not a bad thing, especially because this is the least expensive AMG you can buy, proper AMG, not AMG Sport, and that just comes with the territory. This is an aggressive vehicle, and it's not something I would daily drive in the city. If you have nicer, more scenic, smoother roads, this might be the car for you. But around here in the Chicago area where we're testing, it's not something that you want to drive every day. Let's circle back to that $71,000 price tag. $70,000 is a lot of money for this car, and there are a lot of good track cars for $70,000. Take your pick. Mustang GT350, Camaro ZL1, Alfa Romeo 4C, BMW M3, all of them feel really good at that price range. This though does not, and that's okay because it's fully kitted out. You can get all of the good, important performance parts on this car for around $56,000. And that's probably the one that you want to look out. No one should be buying a $70,000 GLA class. One option you can for sure skip though is the $720 kryptonite green paint. It just reminds me of a sinus infection.